Did you know there are certain relatives you should avoid after 60 because they quietly drain your peace without you even realizing it? Have you ever left a family gathering feeling more tired than before you arrived? Does someone close to you always seem to bring stress, guilt, or tension into your life? At our age, peace is more precious than gold, but sometimes it's those we love most who chip away at it, bit by bit. Today, I want to share something deeply personal: 5 types of relatives I've learned to keep a healthy distance from after turning 60. Number 5. Well, it truly shocked me. Let's begin. 1. The drama-seeking relative. There's always that one person in the family, the one who seems to bring a storm with them wherever they go. Maybe it's a cousin, maybe a sibling, maybe even one of your own children. You know the type. They show up with stories full of conflict. They whisper behind someone's back. They raise their voice over the smallest things. Every gathering becomes a stage, and they're always in the spotlight. I used to think it was just their way. I tried to be patient. I'd nod, I'd listen, I'd get pulled in. Before I knew it, I was sitting at the dinner table, caught in the middle of an argument that had nothing to do with me. And when they left, I felt exhausted, drained, not just from the noise, but from the emotional weight they carried with them and passed on to others. After 60, something shifts. At least it did for me. I began to crave peace in a way I never had before. I wasn't interested in who said what to whom or why someone didn't show up at last year's Thanksgiving. I just wanted a quiet evening, a warm cup of tea. A simple conversation without tension riding under every word. These drama-seeking relatives may not mean harm, but their constant chaos steals something precious: your calm. And at our age, calm isn't a luxury. It's survival. It's healing. It's the space where we remember who we are without all the noise. You don't have to cut them out completely unless you feel you must, but you can step back. You can say no to the invitation. You can let the phone ring. You can choose peace even when they choose conflict. Because these years, they belong to you now, and they deserve to be quiet, full of laughter that doesn't sting, stories that bring light, not trouble. Let them keep their drama. You've earned your stillness. 2. The money-leeching relative. There was a time when helping a family member gave me joy. A small loan here, a little support there, nothing I couldn't handle. But as the years passed, I began to notice a pattern. It was always the same relative, always a new emergency, always just a little help until next month. At first, it felt good to be needed. I told myself, that's what family does. But soon, the requests grew more frequent, and each time I tried to say no, the guilt set in. After all I've done for you, they'd say, or worse, I thought you were the one person I could count on. That's the trick, isn't it? They don't just ask, they press. They wrap their need in guilt and hand it to you like a gift you can't return. And before you know it, your savings, what you planned for your peace, and your future starts to slip away, one favor at a time. Retirement isn't cheap. Medications, home repairs, groceries, they add up. Most of us aren't bringing in a paycheck anymore. Every dollar matters. And when someone keeps taking, it doesn't just hurt your wallet, it steals your security, your comfort, your freedom. I learned, painfully, that saying no doesn't make you cold, it makes you wise. If someone you love only shows up when they need something, that's not connection, that's convenience. You can still care without being taken advantage of. You can say, I'm not in a place to help financially right now, and mean it. You can offer advice, a listening ear, or even help them find other resources. But you don't have to give what you don't have. These years are meant for peace. You worked hard for decades. You shouldn't have to carry someone else's burden now, especially when they've made a habit of handing it to you. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for them and for yourself is to draw the line. Because your stability matters, your peace matters, and those who truly care about you will understand that. 3. The know-it-all relative. You know the one I'm talking about. The relative who always has something to say, always correcting you, always offering advice you didn't ask for. They speak like they've lived your life better than you have, like they hold the rule book and you've been reading it wrong all along. For me, it was my younger brother. Every time we talked, he'd chime in about how I should eat, how I should manage my medications, even how I should spend my time. "You need to stay busy," he'd say. "You shouldn't live alone." It sounded like concern at first, but over time, it wore me down. I started to question myself. Maybe I wasn't doing things right. Maybe I was too slow to adapt. Maybe I wasn't enough, and that's the danger. When someone constantly makes you feel like your choices don't measure up, it chips away at your confidence quietly, steadily. After 60, life doesn't get easier, but it should get freer. Freer from noise, from judgment, from having to explain yourself over and over. You've made it through decades of work, family, change, and loss. You know who you are. You don't need someone else rewriting your story. I had to learn how to speak up, not with anger, but with calm. "I appreciate your concern," I told him once, "but I trust the way I live my life." That was enough. Not to change him, but to remind myself. It's okay to listen, but it's also okay to walk away when the advice becomes a lecture. You're not here to prove yourself anymore. You're here to live in your terms, in your time. Respect isn't something we earn at this age. It's something we're owed. And those who love you will offer it freely, without trying to fix what isn't broken. And 4, the emotionally manipulative relative. There's a special kind of heaviness that comes from being made to feel guilty, especially by someone you love. I've known it too well. A relative who never asks directly, but always makes you feel like you should do something. "I guess I'll just handle it alone," they say. Or, "I thought you cared." Words like that stick with you, even long after the conversation ends. It's not that they shout or make demands. It's more subtle than that. They sigh. They remind you of everything they've done for you. They make you feel small for setting a boundary, or selfish for needing rest. Over time, it wears you down. I spent years saying yes when I wanted to say no, babysitting when I was tired, driving when I didn't feel safe, giving up time I had planned for myself, just to avoid that sinking feeling of guilt. And at first, I told myself it was love. That's what love looks like, right? Sacrifice? But here's what I've learned. There's a line between kindness and losing yourself. And if every interaction leaves you feeling like you've done something wrong, even when you haven't, it's not love, it's control. After 60, we shouldn't be living for others' expectations. We've already spent decades doing that, raising kids, supporting partners, working jobs we didn't always enjoy. These years are for us now. For quiet mornings, for slow walks, for saying, "No, not today," and not having to explain why. You can care for others and still choose yourself. You can love someone and still say no. And if they truly love you, they'll learn to accept that. I no longer let guilt be my guide. I follow peace instead. And in doing so, I've discovered something beautiful. When you stop pleasing everyone else, you finally start living for yourself. 5. The controlling caregiver relative. Sometimes help doesn't feel like help. It feels like a cage. I remember when my nephew started coming around more often. At first, it was sweet. He'd bring groceries, help with my appointments, even tidy up the house. I thought it was kindness. I was grateful. But little by little, things started to change. He'd move things without asking, decide what I should eat, speak to my doctor as if I weren't in the room. "You don't need to worry about that," he'd say. Or, "I'll handle it, you just rest." It sounded caring, but it didn't feel like love. It felt like I was disappearing. The hardest part was how easy it was to justify. "He means well," I'd tell myself. "He's just trying to help." But over time, I realized I was no longer making my own decisions. I had stopped speaking up, stopped trusting my own voice. After 60, independence isn't just a word, it's your dignity. And when someone, even someone close, starts to take that away in the name of care, it's not kindness, it's control. This kind of relative can be tricky to spot. They don't yell, they don't force. They just slowly convince you that you can't do things on your own anymore. And if you're not careful, you start to believe them. But the truth is, You know yourself better than anyone. You've lived a long time. You've made it through more than they know. You are still capable. And you have every right to speak up, to choose, to live your life on your terms. If you need help, that's okay. But help should lift you, not silence you. Support should feel like partnership, not control. I had to set boundaries. I had to remind my nephew and myself that I'm still here, still thinking, still deciding. Don't let anyone take away your voice in the name of love. You've earned your independence. Hold on to it, fiercely, quietly, fully. In these later years, peace isn't just a comfort, it's a necessity. And sometimes, that means stepping back from the people who bring more harm than harmony, even if they're family. Whether it's the drama, the guilt, the pressure, or the control, it all chips away at the quiet life we've earned. We don't need to carry those weights anymore. Not now. So take a moment, ask yourself, who truly adds to your peace, and who quietly takes it away? If this touched something in you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe someone else needs to hear this, send it their way. You're not alone in this journey. And if you'd like more reflections like this, you're welcome to stay with us for the next story.